Hi everybody. In today's world, clarity and certainty can be hard to find, let alone hold on to. With long to-do lists, ever-changing routines, and constantly shifting priorities and projects, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, oversaturated, and chaotic. Well, in this video, I want to talk to you about how a few brilliant ideas from minimalist thinking and essentialist thinking can help us with the challenges of modern life, thinking clearly, being more productive, and finding focus in my life and work. Maybe they can do the same for you. Hello, welcome back to Better Creating. If you're new here, my name is Simon and this channel is all about simplifying creative life. So I'm creating videos around productivity, creativity and simple living. If you're interested in that, check out the other videos and consider subscribing. Now, if you've clicked on this video, you are of course expecting me to explore minimalism. You may or may not have heard of essentialism. It's also concerned with the pursuit of less. It forces us to apply a more selective criteria to what is essential in order to regain control of our choices. Now, Greg McKeown's book has a massive overlap with the world of minimalist thinking, and it's why it's such an important influence on this video. As I see it, there are 3 levels to designing a more intentional life and thinking clearly. This video, we're going to break them down and talk about approaches to how you can build a more intentional life inspired by these wonderful movements. In stage 1, we're going to look at defining your values and what matters most. Then in stage 2, we'll look at how we can build systems to enable those values. And stage 3, cultivating habits that make them happen through action. Before we do any of that, let's just take a moment to address the problems and challenges we might be trying to overcome for a more happy and productive life. As always, there are chapter markers in the timeline below if you want to jump between sections. I think that modern Western society has been built on a culture of having more, going further, and thinking bigger. We have access to unlimited information and hundreds of available choices. It's overwhelming, and if you try to keep up, it's also quite often unsustainable. Over the last few years, I've noticed how my life was increasingly filled with more moments of panic and anxiety. It comes from trying to hold too many competing priorities at once, perhaps, and being overstimulated by information, choices, and distractions. At other times, this creates in me a kind of confused and unfocused excitement for the myriad of exciting choices to make in life and creative work. So I decided to do something to change this. I needed to feel clearer and calmer about my life. I want to be able to be fully present in the moment. I want to find more clarity and focus in everything I do. I want to find balance in my life, to focus more on the things that make me happy. If any of these things ring true to you, then stick around. Often, when we talk about embracing minimalism, we think of decluttering, rejecting consumer culture, and owning less stuff. But in fact, the clearest change I've experienced is internal, not external. In that sense, for me, it's meant having more, not less. Minimalist living, when embraced as a form of behaviour and habit change, is a way of more intentionally taking back control of our health, our time, and our life as a whole. But where do we start? Define what matters most. The first stage to thinking clearly is to define your priorities. In her book, The Regrets of the Dying, Bronnie Ware suggests that one of the great regrets people described was the idea of having lived a life that was not true to themselves, but to the expectations of others. The central premise of essentialism for me is that if we don't identify what's most important in our life, someone else will do it for us, or worse, we will do what we think is expected of us rather than what we really want for ourselves. It's what McKeown calls the disciplined pursuit of less, rejecting the trivial, many for the essential few. Just like decluttering our homes, if we clear out the stuff that isn't important, we are naturally left with that which really matters to us. So how do we do that? How do we know what's important? How do we work out what our core values are? There is only one real way: making space for deep reflection and thinking. And if you're already feeling chaotic and overwhelmed, that can be hard to do. I've found that during the strange, challenging times of 2020 and the COVID pandemic, with less theatre happening and more time at home, there has been a particular benefit. space to think. Taking real time to reflect, explore and question what's important to me, far from being unproductive musing, lazy procrastination, has in fact actually been one of the most productive impacts on my life. By being able to devote real time to reflect and identify what I really need and want to focus my energy on, I'm actually making myself more effective and productive in the long term. Like minimalism enabling us to have more, one of the paradoxes of essentialism, as Greg writes, is that essentialists actually explore more options than their non-essentialist counterparts, but with an agenda to discern what are the essential few to be focused on. So my goal this year has simply been to prioritise really thinking about those first big key decisions that inform all the tiny little ones that follow. It's creating a kind of funnel of decision making. Let me know in the comments below, what are you choosing to prioritise at the moment in your life and why? The power of no. Minimalist living asks us not only to question what we hold on to, but also what we choose to bring into our lives. To that end, I ask myself, will I still be excited about this idea or object or project or activity in a year from now? As Greg McKeown has said, if it's not hell yes, then it's hell no. Minimalist thinking is about identifying the core values and goals in our life, meaning the route is clearer and more directional. A positive kind of tunnel vision that removes scattered attention and, far from limiting us, actually allows us to go further in a direction we want to go, as opposed to limiting thinking. It makes space to open up ourselves to possibilities that we might otherwise miss. In my creative work, I've noticed how limitations actually breed creativity and allow us to dive deeper. I'm trying to let go of small, quick wins and focusing on how I can embrace the pursuit of singular, bigger objectives. Let us then do our very best, as Greg says, not to get tricked by the trivial. I love that line, it's so good. You don't have to follow the norm. If you're doing this investigative, kind of genuine searching for what is important to you, and you're doing that on your own terms, it allows us to not follow the crowd. My pact to you is that I'm going to find genuine, graceful, positive ways of saying no to people. But saying no can often be much more well received if done in the right way than a vague and uncommitted yes. So this year is about embracing the power of no. Creating systems that help you. Okay, so let's say you've identified what is most important to you. Well, that means nothing if you don't have an effective design system in order to get there. It's just a dream off in the distance, and you can still be bouncing around chaotically not knowing what you want to do. Embrace good design. Being intentional about designing your life means, like a great piece of design, we learn to think clearly about designing both the form and function of how we live. It's easy to think of minimalism as an aesthetic, early on at least, but of course it's more than that. Really, it's an attitude towards life. But, like great design, it is about distilling down both form and function to best serve us and make us happy. Let me give you a metaphor. I love this chair. It's a Hans Wegner chair, it's 1950s, and it's one of those amazing finds. It is the perfect combination between form and function, in my view. Dieter Rams, another famous designer, says that essentially great design is, distilled to its essence, less but better. I think that minimalism and essentialist thinking are exactly the same. The disciplined pursuit of less but better. What does that mean in terms of clarity of thinking? That we need to think about how we find both form and function in everything we do, being really specific about what I bring into my life so that it genuinely is having at least one excellent function that's really helping me and at the same time makes me happy. But also it's about focusing on quality over quantity. By focusing on quality, we can go deeper and further in the direction we want to go. This chair will last a lifetime. It's great quality, I've bought it once. And in the same way with minimalism and things, we're designing our spaces and our relationship to objects and stuff to be stripped back and simple, meaning that as a result, we spend less time worrying about what we need to bring into our lives or replace or fix. This will just stay around, do its job and make me happy. I don't have to worry about chairs again. Chaos leads to more chaos. Chaotic spaces make me anxious. If minimalism is about letting go and having to deal with less in your life, then when it comes to the best enabling of ourselves to think clearly, we need to design simple systems that support us in doing this. Simply put, the less decisions we need to make, the less chaos and overwhelm in our life. This isn't about shutting off from possibility, it's about finding focus to better engage with the possibilities that might be right for us. This might be about designing routines that streamline your actions, organising your spaces so that things are easier to access and find. Seriously, it saved me hours of distraction, misdirection and confusion. Or setting up an investment system to make your money work for you automatically. Our thoughts can be too much to hold on to all at once. We make endless decisions each day. Perhaps the most obvious example of a system I use to organise and declutter my thinking is creating a digital second brain that holds and remembers things for me so that I can free myself to have the ideas and action them. If you don't know already, I've been making mine in Notion. Check out the rest of the videos on the channel where I can help you build your own. Decluttering my mind by building a second one has given me space to think. Stage 3, daily habits, simple living and the power of now. This final layer of thinking clearly is about how we take action, healthy, simple day-to-day habits. Here are some practical actions that I've been taking to think more clearly in the moment and stay focused on what matters. I find if I don't start my day with purpose and focus, I can get really lost and it can end up being 12 in the afternoon before I really actually start doing something meaningful. By setting myself a clear but flexible morning routine, I'm either getting something done immediately or actually enjoying my time in the morning, not focusing on work and having space to think and reflect. Brilliant. One of my favourite new habits to stay present and think clearly has got to be using a weekly review. I'm able to take a specific period of time each week to reflect on the tasks that might be upcoming, what's happened in the week, and how I want to get clear with my systems. This means that worrying about the past and the future is allocated to a specific time. I can then move on and be in the moment with whatever it is I want to be doing. For more on the weekly review and how to build your own, check out my videos on getting things done and my Notion productivity system. The habit of being able to define clear boundaries each day for when your work stops and your personal life starts, and actually calling that, is one of the best habits we can cultivate in order to find mental clarity. To be honest, it's something I need to get much better at, but that lack of confusion between deep, focused work and downtime can be one of the most brilliant tools to allow your mind to reset, reorganise, sort things out in the background while you do something else. It makes space for us to connect with our loved ones, find balance in our lives, and enjoy the downtime. So let me know in the comments below what of this has particularly resonated with you. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. If you enjoyed this video and found it valuable, hit the like button and maybe check out some of these videos for more stuff around minimalism, creativity and productivity, and I'll see you in the next video.